God has endowed the British race with a worldwide empire, that they may execute his sovereign purpose in the world. The victories you will have over the heathen are the victories of the nobler soul in man.
We may be a small island, but I tell you what, we're a great country.
I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown. And he replied, go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light and safer than a known way.
Why is it that today the tide has turned and we are beating the Germans and coming towards the final climax of the war? I'll tell you why it is. It's because we've got far the best equipment and we've got far the best men. And women too. Far the best.
What kind of a people do they think we are? Is it possible they do not realize that we shall never cease to persevere against them until they have been taught a lesson which they and the world will never forget?
The Nazis entered this war under the rather childish delusion that they were going to bomb everybody else and nobody was going to bomb them. They sowed the wind, and now they are going to reap the whirlwind.
Now we are the masters of our fate. That the task which has been set us is not above our strength. That its pangs and toils are not beyond our endurance. As long as we have faith in our cause and an unconquerable willpower, salvation will not be denied us. In the words of the psalmist, he shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord.
We've got this emergence of, in certain parts of the country, kind of men deserts where children are growing up and they don't really see many male role models through the younger years, and that's a growing phenomenon.
By the church's own admission, the number of people coming through the doors of this and every other church in England has halved over the past 40 years. The very same report even warns that in the longer term, the established religion faces fading away to virtual irrelevance.
Brought in Britain. Now, of all silly sayings, one of the silliest is the saying, you can't put the clock back. Of course you can put the clock back, and you often do. If a clock is showing the wrong time, you put it back or forward, whichever is necessary, without the slightest hesitation. So in human life, and in a nation's life, if a mistake has been made, we ought to put it right, if we can. Some mistakes, especially in an individual's life, are irreversible. And there may, though more rarely, be such in the life of a nation. But we ought always to be on our guard against those who tell us so, who whisper in our ear, it's done now, and it can't be undone. for those are commonly the voices of cowardice or indolence, and sometimes of downright evil intent.
God made the head of a man the supreme part of his body, yet these traitors have abused God's work.
His right is ordained by God, and no man may alter it.
And may that almighty hand guide and uphold us all.
I am John Bull, the fighting spirit of England.
What about Scotland?
I am John Bull, the fighting spirit of Scotland, Ireland, and Wales.
And the Isle of Wight?
Yeah, I shan't tell you again, Walker.